his college letter of recommendation, I wrote, "If there survives any embodiment of the Renaissance man in today's society, it will be found in this young man." Craig Schraeren represents the consummate CSN graduate. He's first among our student scholars. He served on many of the school's academic teams, and he's participated in a wide variety of extracurricular activities. Most importantly, he has not only attained the school's most distinguished academic achievement while completing 16 AP courses and compiling a straight A record in all classes, he's done so with a grace and style that set him apart from most people his age. I had the pleasure of encountering Craig both in the classroom. He was a precocious sophomore in my AP United States History class, which is a course usually taken by juniors, and outside the classroom. For years, he's been a leading member and has served as one of the captains of the CSN mock trial team that I helped coach. Like those Renaissance men I've compared him to, Craig is the master of a wide variety of knowledge, equally adept in the fields of math and science, history and philosophy, modern languages and music, in public speaking and computer programming, as well as in political science and current events. In an age, Craig, when one of the nation's most prestigious newspapers can assign 20 reporters to explore every phase of one presidential candidate's life, I hope you won't mind if I share a few things that were said about you by your teachers in confidence. I think the audience might appreciate that. We're all aware, Craig, of your stellar academic performance and your record of straight A's, but I think it might prove interesting to our audience to know the sorts of things your teachers have been saying about you for the last 4 years. So Craig, like J. Edgar Hoover and Joseph R. McCarthy, men I think you might admire and respect like I do, I found in your file some really interesting things. Sure, many of your teachers have expressed glowing comments about your dedication, trustworthiness, thirst for knowledge. Here's a brief sample, for example, of the teachers that have spoke to you just in this past year in those comments. Quote, "What a treat a year with you has been. Whether in the class, in discussions, or on paper, your observations are astute, your insights keen, and your questions important." Here's another quote, "I'm impressed by your thoughtfulness and enthusiasm." Another wrote, "A responsible student who always comes prepared with his reading done and who displays great enthusiasm for class." Another, "A typical college student has 4 classes. Craig has 5 AP college level courses plus another one. Nevertheless, Craig is well on his way towards a 5 on the AP exam." One sophomore instructor said of Craig, quote, "His insights benefit the entire class, and I can confidently say that when Craig speaks and talks, people listen. Perhaps I have the next D.F. Hutton in my class?" As I've continued to delve into your past at CSN, Craig, the comments continued along the same vein. Adjectives such as personable, energetic, outstanding role model, committed to excellence, leads his classmates with diligence and accuracy, and talented and mature filled your record as a junior and sophomore. Then I came across the first hint that there was more to you than just perfection. Among these accolades was one that your ninth grade teacher made. It was this comment, quote, "While it's a great pleasure to have Craig in class, it was even more of a thrill to have his grandparents in class," quote unquote. So there it was, Craig, a weakness on your part. There was an obvious need for me to continue my investigation. I mean, you couldn't even keep up with your grandparents. That investigation finally proved to be fruitful when some hours later I found this comment. Upon discovering this gem, I was left wondering what else I might have discovered if I only had the resources of that nation's newspaper to help me in my investigation. There it was, and it was unmistakable. One of your instructors seemed to have found the true essence of your inner being when he wrote, quote, "Craig is entertaining to say the least. He replies to instructions with some of the most troublesome questions I've ever heard. But then he does extremely well on all his assignments. Sometimes I'm not sure if Craig's joking or if he's serious with his questions, but he makes me laugh either way. In all seriousness, Craig, in light of your outstanding accomplishments here at CSN, I can avow that your peers and faculty are more apt to be in awe than laughter when they think of you. Well, maybe it's true that equally as important as those straight A's and all those scores of 5 on your AP exams, your humorous antics did make us laugh quite a bit. Thanks for those memories, too. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our entire administration and faculty, it's indeed a great honor to present to you the CSN valedictorian for the class of 2016, Craig Schrader.
Welcome, family, friends, and distinguished faculty to the CSN Class of 2016 Commencement Ceremony. To put Dr. Johnson at ease, this is not my investiture speech. You will not need the 5-second delay with which he threatened me a few days ago. My speech will be as clean as a Chipotle bathroom. It's not the cleanest in the world, but it will effectively serve its purpose. However, I do want to label my investiture speech a success. I spoke out against the sludge in the lake with the Chernobyl fish by the LMA. Guess what? They stopped the sludge, and now the lake is clean again. I've never quite understood the point of a valedictorian speech. What makes me so special? I'm just a dweeb with a high GPA. Why should GPA serve as the requirement for this speech? In my opinion, due to their multitude of accomplishments, many of my peers are just as qualified, or even more so, to give this speech. As Ben has already mentioned, we have future college athletes: Jacob Buckhead, Lindsay Tomani, Stephanie the Best Call, Karen Rogi, Alex Maxon, Gabby Demers, and Kirill Gusharov. Ivan Wang consistently placed first in math competitions. Ryan Jaffe, aka the young Neil Peart, is an exceptional drummer and the only National Merit Scholar in the class of 2016. But more impressively, he can sing the entire score of the play Hamilton on a moment's notice. We all know Jacob Buckhead will be our generation's Mark Zuckerberg, and in case you didn't know, he made a Snapchat filter just for the Philharmonic, or the Archie Staples. And we all know that Jack Allen will become the next Mark Cuban. Austin Alaj will be the next Gianni Versace. At this time, I have to plug the sponsor of my speech, Indigo Clothing. Alexa Weinstein is accomplished being a member of a nearly extinct species in Naples, the Registered Democrats. To quote the great Mike Mansfield, "Oh, honey, you wouldn't believe it. The Colorado County Democrats got in the phone booth last week." Austin Ferrugia is much more deceptively handsome than I am. That's an accomplishment. Austin's looks have deceived us all before. Don't pretend like Saturday night didn't happen, Austin, because it did. What about a valedictorian speech from a successful local entrepreneur, such as Mr. John at Papa John's Pizza? This speech has been brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza, better valedictorian speeches, Papa John's. I apologize. I had to plug the other sponsor of my speech. However, I do have one special distinction as a CSN student. I've attended CSN for 14 years, and in case you're wondering, 14 years converts to 5,110 days. That's almost the number of days I missed in Miss Pegnetter's AP Statistics classes here. Along with the other 24 lifers in this class, I've seen the school grow in ways almost nobody else has. So let's travel back to that fateful August morning in 2002. Now, it's kind of hard to sum all of the CSN experience in one speech, and I need to borrow a metaphor from the pinnacle of artistic human achievement, Shrek. So, in case you've ever watched Shrek, Donkey asks Shrek explains to Donkey that boars are like onions, and high school's a lot like an onion. It makes you cry, sometimes it stinks, but more importantly, onions have layers, and so does the CSN experience. So I'll attack the CSN experience layer by layer. 2002, our first day of school. It was a simpler time. Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan hadn't gone crazy yet, and America didn't know the difference between a Barack Obama and a Hakuna Matata. But we got through pre-K and kindergarten. I thought it was smooth sailing up ahead, but then in second grade, Hurricane Wilma destroyed our beloved climbing tree. When that tree fell, we all fell. In middle school, we threw our roller backpacks in the trash, well, except for Ben Yitzhak. And we kept marching, we kept hustling. I actually forget most of middle school. Was that when we spent 3 years making castles in history class? Could someone back me up on this? Despite the awkwardness of puberty, we learned from some of the finest in middle school. Mr. Tom Stout taught us that all we needed to do to become a leader is watch the Dead Poets Society. And who can forget band class with Dennis Scott? I learned about the greatness of Arby's there. Then high school came. We all thought we watched enough High School Musical, American Pie, and Superbad to know what we were in for. Our freshman selves changed so much from our middle school selves. We threw out our Abercrombie graphic tees. We tore up our silly bands. Despite what rapper Juicy J may tell you, silly bands do not make her dance. I've tried it in the club, and it doesn't work. We thought Steve Jobs had died, but we soon learned that the reincarnation of the visionary dwelled in the CSN High School, Philip Marvin. High school presented us with new, more challenging obstacles, like remembering Ellen is just a girl that Mr. Berger dated in high school, or telling Mr. Mansfield that the NRA's got buku money. We found social causes to get involved in, such as the Free Frank movement, never forget. Remember the great teachers that have left us lessons, but unfortunately left CSN. In AP Human Geography, Mr. Jason Scott taught us how to get all the cream cheese out of its package in one single squeeze. Mr. Levine taught us that bribery is alive and thriving in the American educational system, as long as it takes the form of Starbucks iced coffee. Mr. Demers taught us well. I can talk to you about that one later. Also, I can tell you that without a doubt, Mr. Demers' lab functioned only as a computer lab and no other type of lab. All jokes aside, all my teachers at CSN had a genuine passion for educating their students. At least in my CSN experience, each teacher goes out of their way to make sure that every student has fully grasped the material. We kept marching, we kept hustling. We took standardized tests, APs, ACTs, SATs. We slaved through college applications. We suffered a whole semester of senioritis. Juniors, having to play Pokemon and Soldario in class is really tough. But look where we are now. We're graduating. To quote this generation's Billy Shakespeare, Toronto rapper Drake, "We made it!" To me, this graduation is more significant than other CSN graduations in recent memory. Look where we're sitting. Years prior to this, we've had to shove in the Mokent family's field house like sardines. And now, we're sitting in a symphony hall. As we have grown, the school has too. Over my 14 years, we built the entire high school, the field house, the football field, and the O-wing. And now the school is building the new student center. We, class of 2016, have arguably seen our institution grow more than any other class has. This ceremony signifies not only the next step in the lives of us soon-to-be graduates, but also the next step for this institution. So I want to speak to the younger students today in the audience, the future of the school. All of you still have to complete the strenuous but rewarding journey of high school, and I have some helpful pieces of advice for you on your road up ahead. My first piece of advice: do not obsess with college ranking. The U.S. News rankings are bullcrap. If your parents or peers fetishize the second-rate news publication, do not listen to them. When deciding on a college, ponder upon what type of career you want to pursue. Does that university have good programs for the major of that career path? A number on the U.S. News national rankings means nothing. If you theoretically want to go to Cornell, but they reject you, do not feel crushed. The admissions officers have never met you. So are you going to base your self-worth on what a few 20-somethings in Ithaca, New York think of you? My other piece of advice: avoid failure at all costs, but if you do, don't fret. Learn from what you did wrong and move on for the better. Most successful people will tell you how much they failed before they succeeded. What's that cliche with Edison and the light bulb again? Put simply, Failure strengthens our ability to succeed. Many failures await for you, but if you learn from them, many more successes await. My peers, I have no doubt the CSN has somehow made you into the person you are today. You had a great teacher who inspired you to tap your inner potential, or the friends you met here have made you grow as a whole. In some fashion, the people of the school have made you evolve for the better. While I was driving here today, I was bumping the music of our generation's Pablo Picasso, Kanye West. In his song, Good Morning, he raps, "Look at the valedictorian, scared of the future, while I hop into the DeLorean." Is Jesus right? I am the valedictorian. Am I scared of the future? And can I hop into a DeLorean? I'm not Kyle Jaffe at homecoming. On a side note, Kyle, I know that you're sitting in the audience today, and I want to take this time to thank you for bestowing me the honor of being your investment club vice president. Even though I was one of 114 vice presidents, colleges don't have to know. But I digress. Truthfully, I'm just as scared of the future as anyone else my age is. Thoughts such as these may be drifting through our heads. Will I enjoy the school I'm going to? Will I succeed here? Will I miss my family? Will I miss my friends? That last one doesn't really apply to Frank Spinelli. And no, Frank, Super Smash Bros. Characters do not count as friends. Confusion is scary, but it's normal. It's healthy. It signals to us that we're venturing into new territories. We do not know what awaits us, but do not let the thought of abandoning the past intimidate you. Let the thought of taking advantage of forthcoming opportunities empower you. College provides us with a fresh slate, so we have the opportunity of making ourselves the best people we can be. If you think you did not try enough in high school, in college, hit those butts. Grind hard, like it's a middle school bar mitzvah. If you want to get in shape, stop eating those Twinkies, get yoked, become the next Tom Beckman Wood, and don't skip Flag Day, Dylan. If you think you weren't outgoing enough in high school, put yourself out there, talk to people, shake a few hands, swipe right on a few Tinder profiles. To quote this generation's Plato, Shia LaBeouf, don't let your dreams be dreams. Make your dreams come true. So just do it! I've been here my whole life, guys. I met my best friends here, and I've known them for the majority of my life. It's going to be hard to move on from the only school I've ever known, the only city where I've ever lived. For the first time in my life, I will be the new kid. It's hard to move on, but we must. We must seize new opportunities and grow because of them. So, is Kanye West right? Are we scared of the future? Hell yes. But class of 2016, we're going to dive right into it.